Hello everyone, my name is Miss Sarah from FIBO Kids Art Academy, and today we're going to be doing a 4th of July painting using acrylic paints. So let's begin. So when you're done with your painting, it may look something like this. It's the Statue of Liberty's hand with fireworks behind. To get started, you're going to need a piece of paper. I'm using illustration paper, but if you have Bristol paper, that works as well. Just some kind of thick paper. We're going to get started on our practice drawing. Now for our practice drawing, I want you to use a pencil, but I'm going to get started with Sharpie just so you can see my lines, but you will be erasing things later on. So to get started, we're going to get started with some basic shapes. So I'm going to draw an oval for the hand. Now this oval is going to go on the bottom half. It's closer to the bottom, and it's going to be closer to the left side of the paper. After that, you're going to put your pencil here and draw it down off the page, and then put your pencil here and draw off the page. This is the wrist right here. After that, we're going to draw a line going side to side, horizontal, and it's going to come back in like that. We're going to add a finger at the top of our oval, and it's going to come back in like that. So now we have the basic shape of the hand. We're going to have it hold onto the torch. So down here, we're going to have a line coming down and then back up. I'm going to make it go all the way up. I'm going to draw through my shape. That way the line lines up and it's nice and consistent. That means it's the same from here to here. So from here, another line like that. After that, we're going to have the top of the torch. I'm going to have this curved line right here. And then above it, another curved line, parallel. Ta-da. After that, on the top, curved line, curved line. Then I'm going to have this curved line connecting down on the left, then another one on the right, and extend this a little bit further. So on the right, and the other side, okay? After that, I'm gonna have two lines going up. I'm gonna have a curved line going across. Then I'm gonna add some detail and design to the torch. You can have an oval in the middle. Another oval here. One here. Jump over here. Here we go. Then one over here. There's railings up here. So I'm gonna start by drawing a curved line over. I'm gonna have one here, a railing here, one right in the middle, one here, and make this a little longer, and then here. After that, we have some detail on the bottom, so that's two curved lines, then another one on the top, and then these lines going down like this. For our fire, it's gonna start here on the left. It's gonna wave into the torch right here. Then go down, and it's gonna come back up. And then it's gonna be like a ball shape. After that, we need the fingers. So we're gonna go right about here. We're gonna add two lines. So one here, then one here. And that's going to be our drawing of the hand and the torch. For our final drawing, you're going to take a Sharpie or any kind of dark marker, and you're going to trace your pencil lines, but not all of them. You're going to erase some of the lines. So we're erasing this one. I'm going to scribble out the ones that you're erasing. So you're scribbling out the oval that's inside of the hand, then down here, inside of the wrist. And then you can see the torch where you drew through your object. Erase that. And then after that, you're going to trace everything with Sharpie except for the flame. The flame, we're just going to be painting it. We're not going to be tracing it with Sharpie. So when you're done tracing and erasing your lines, you're going to have something that looks a little bit like this. See my flame, I didn't trace it with a Sharpie. I traced it with an orange marker so you'll be able to see it, but I am going to be using paint right here. So to start our painting, we're going to do the background first. So for the background, I'm going to use dark purple. I'm going to use my big brush with my purple. I'm going to first outline everything and then paint it in. I'm going to paint up like this. If you get it on your Sharpie, that is okay. Once the acrylic dries, you can paint right on top of your lines. Now this is a recording. If you feel like I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video whenever. I want you to work at a pace that you feel comfortable with. So we're painting the background first. That way it has a chance to dry before we start painting our fireworks. And I'm using a big brush because that's what I prefer. But if you want to outline everything using your detail brush or medium brush, that is okay. For the rails, just paint right over them. You can draw them back in with a Sharpie later on. Go around the fire. In real life, this fire is a statue, so it's bronze. But I'm gonna paint it yellow and orange today because I think that's fun. And you can paint whatever colors you want because it's your painting. Around the fire. I saw the Statue of Liberty this year in January. Pretty cool. Almost done. Now I am using purple because I'm going to be painting the statue green. And purple is a complementary color for green. But you could use any color if it's a dark color because we're painting a night sky because fireworks are typically used at night. Maybe you could do a sunset. That might look cool. Okay, we're almost done with the background or outlining. And then after that, paint everything else. I'm running out of my purple paint, but that's okay. I can just get some more out of the tube. If I were mixing a color for the sky, I would have mixed more, because once you're out of a mixed color, it's a little bit tricky to get that exact same shade. But that's okay, this is just tube color. This purple is a little bit transparent, so I can give it a second coat in some areas. And the table that I'm working on is plastic, so I can always just use a cleaner and clean my paint up. But if you're working on wood, you might want to put a paper towel, a drop cloth, some kind of plastic down. That way you don't get acrylic paint on the wood table, because that's going to be a little harder to get out. But with plastic, it just comes right up. There we go. There. That's it for our background. While we're painting the hand and the torch, our background will be drying. And put this up. So I'm going to be mixing a green. So green and then white. This is going to be for the hand. And then after I'm done painting the hand, I'm going to mix some gray in it for the torch. So I'm washing the purple out of my big brush very well. And I take my paper towel and I dry it off, like it's a little bit purple still inside, and rinse it some more. You want to have clean brushes when you paint with acrylics. You want to have clean brushes for any kind of painting, really. So I mix my green. That's a nice green. I like it. When I paint, I like to use this motion to get the paint really loaded in my brush. I'm gonna come over here and paint the hand. And I'm still using my big brush, but if you want to use a medium brush, you could use that too. I'd recommend getting comfortable with a bigger brush, because when you use a bigger brush, there is less texture when you paint. It's a lot smoother. That's why I like to use a big brush. On top of the wrist. It's funny, the Statue of Liberty in person, it's a little bit smaller than you would expect. And I turn my brush to the side to get the little part of the hand. Okay. And I painted over my Sharpie. That's okay, because I'm gonna re-outline later on. Put my brush to the side, get my gray. I'm gonna mix this together. This is gonna be for the torch. I'm gonna use my big brush on some of the areas on the torch, and then I'm gonna switch to my medium brush. There we go. So this large area, I'm gonna paint over like that. And then I'm gonna switch over once I'm done with this. There you go. And here. There. Now, I lost a lot of detail, but that's okay. I'll just put it back in later. Working with acrylics is really nice because it dries pretty fast, and then you can just layer on top of it. Okay. I'm gonna go in my medium brush. I'm gonna get around the hand, between the fingers. Then down here, at the bottom of the torch. There you go. And that's it for the torch. There's little white areas I missed. I can use my little brush to get that detail back in. Okay. I'm gonna switch back to my big brush, and I'm gonna be using it for the rest of the painting. I'm gonna keep that. Actually, I'm gonna switch back to the purple. The purple's pretty dry, so I'm gonna get some yellow. And I'm gonna paint the flames. Right there. I'm gonna paint all of it, and then I'm gonna go back in with orange. Oops. Some of my purple is still a little bit wet, but I think that kind of looks cool. After I'm done painting the yellow, I'm gonna put my brush to the side. I'm gonna get orange. I'm gonna paint the core of this yellow flame with orange. Like that. Gonna add a little bit more in the middle. When things are darker in the middle and then lighter on the outside, that kind of lighting is called a rim light. I think it looks really cool. After that, I'm gonna go in with my yellow and add some highlights. I'm gonna add a yellow highlight here. On the top of the hand, because that's where it's close to the torch. And then a yellow highlight here. Yeah, that looks cool. I like that. Okay. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add our fireworks. Okay. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna get white. I think that's good. Get some pink. Then I'm gonna use some of my yellow. Now you could use whatever colors you want. You could use red, white, and blue if you want to be really patriotic. I think that would look cool. This part gets kind of messy. So I'm going to take my brush. It has a little bit of water in it because our paint is going to be a little bit wet for this to work. And my white paint is mixing with my purple paint, but that's okay. Looks cool. Okay. And then after this, we're gonna splatter like this. Taking my brush like this. And it splatters. I'm gonna put it in some areas where I have my fireworks. I want my fireworks to go. It's better if you point your brush away from the hand because you don't really want the fireworks to go on the hand. Maybe if the fireworks were fired in front of the Statue of Liberty. Then after that, you're going to turn your brush around and you're going to do this. You take the tip and you're going to make lines like this. You're going to find droplets of paint. You're going to pull the paint down. And that's the sparks of the fireworks coming down. You're going to layer this up with different colors of paint. This is also a really good technique for if you want to do stars. If you like painting space and galaxies and nebulas, really good technique. Okay. Then you could even go into the paint and then you could pull it up. Just make sure that you go in arching lines, kind of like an umbrella. That's what you want your fireworks to look like an umbrella. If you kind of twist your brush while you're making your marks, kind of leaves a skid, like how this the spark would look if it was falling. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna wash my brush, and I'm gonna go in with my pink. And just like before, my brush is a little bit wet, and mix it together, like that. And then I'm gonna splatter it again. I'm gonna splatter it where I have my white fireworks. Because fireworks kind of cluster together. And then over here. So same as before, take your brush and pull the paint down. Try to make it go into a palm tree umbrella motion. It's like sparks falling down, because that's what fireworks are. Then go back in to your paint and then pull the sparks up. Kind of look a little bit like a cool hat. Sure, they have hats like that. And down here, put this one down here. Okay. Then I'm going to do one more color. Make sure you're wiping off your hand as well, since your finger is getting into the paint. I got one more color to do, and that's the yellow. Okay. So just like before, wipe the paint a little bit, swirl it around. You can also use this technique with watercolor. And you spray it. Over here. If you know any other types of fireworks, you can paint that too. There's those fireworks that make patterns in the sky. They make boxes. Don't know how they do that. I think that's really cool. Take your end of the brush, pull those sparks down. If your paint mixes together, like your yellows and your pinks and your whites, that's okay, because they're fireworks. They get kind of crazy and chaotic. I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna pull the sparks up like this. When my family does fireworks, they also bang pots and pans together, because what 4th of July and fireworks needs is more noise. There we go. Okay, so that is the last bit of painting we're doing. What we're doing now is waiting for our painting to dry, for our acrylics to dry, and then we're going to go back and outline some of the lines that I've got covered with paint. So it should be dry enough. I'm going to outline down here, around the fingers, wherever it got covered up with paint. Now, if you have maybe those Sharpies that are metallic, that might look good to outline your fire with, or wherever there's light. Now it got really covered up here. So we're just gonna put our designs back in. That, also our rail. Okay, put that back in here. Draw my ovals back. My paint is still a little bit wet, so it's making my Sharpie kind of skip a little bit. You want to make sure that your paint is all the way dry before you Sharpie. There we go. Then I have here, and then down here. You should be able to see your Sharpie lines through your acrylic, but if you can't, that's okay. You can draw on top of your acrylic with pencil, and then draw over with Sharpie. There we go. Okay. And that's it for our 4th of July Statue of Liberty. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Make sure you check out Phoebo Village on Facebook for more classes and lessons, and I hope to see you again very soon. I hope you have a happy 4th of July and a happy time making art.